What's going on, guys? It's your boy Random Guy Kevin. This is Thoughts of a Random Guy. We talk about many things dealing with love, dating, relationships, adulting, life's ups and downs, and the ever evolving world of just being a human. Don't forget to check me out on all your favorite social media platforms at Random Guy Kev and my website at randomguykev.com. Today's topic is cultural related holidays and do they matter? And my co host for this episode is.
This is Tom.
Thank you, Tom, for joining me for another episode. And when I say we talk about holidays, I'm talking kind of more, let's say, U.S. related holidays in the U.S. that people observe or that we're all for, things of that nature. And I mean, let's start with which holiday, American holiday we can start. Let's do Martin Luther King Day. Martin Luther King is in January. Normally the third Monday in January, and it's observed. Most people observe it as just remembering Martin Luther King Jr. Other times people just, hey, it's another
It's a day off.
Yeah, such as another off day for me. And I feel like the way that history is being taught in these schools now, that a lot of kids don't understand the significance of Martin Luther King Jr.
Absolutely. I think, there's definitely significance with history and a lot of holidays. But in particular to cultural holidays, like I think MLK Day is one of those days where, back when we were in school, I feel like we spent a lot of time, really taking a deep dive into like his history and who he's about. I'm not too sure nowadays, but I feel like nowadays holidays are a lot about social media, like, hey, this is me doing this on MLK Day.
Yeah. And the thing is, MLK Day kind of brought in, well, for me at least, brought in kind of like Black History Month.
Right.
So it was like the introduction, and we learned a lot about, hey, this is what MLK did. This is what he stood for. This was the reason he did this and that, and then we went into learning about other African American things in the following weeks, and I feel like that was very, very beneficial to learn about. I mean, for at least for me to learn about, like, all right, this is America. This is literally America we're talking about. This is like damn near, I want to say 70 years ago. Like, it's not like it's 300 years ago. No, this is 70 years ago. This was like yesterday. That a lot of this stuff was happening, what he fought for, what the civil rights movement was about, and things of that nature.
I think a lot of it has to do with, like, for example, MLK Day, and like, with a lot of Black people, it should be a day of accepting that people might not know much, and being teachers of what the day is, rather than kind of like seeing that, oh, if you're not educated about it, maybe you're ignorant, right? I think it should be about education versus like a expectation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And I could relate to this if you were to. So I'm my background, I'm Taiwanese, so we celebrate Chinese holidays. During Chinese New Year, I mean, I'm sure for you, like, Chinese New Year probably seems like a whole lot of random things going on with Asian people, and there's like the red envelopes, and like,
Yeah, I know it's something sacred.
it's a yeah, and then like different Asian countries celebrate
So, yep.
that day differently, right? So I've seen situations where like a Black person or white person might come by, and then they might think, oh, it's appropriate to on Chinese New Year to say, hey, happy Chinese New Year, and they'll bow, right? But then I've seen some people get offended by things like that.
Yeah.
right? And then what I want to say is like, no, you shouldn't be offended because they're not coming at you saying like, oh, this is a stupid holiday. They're saying they're they might have assumed, but it's not a it's not like a swipe at you, you know. It's more of like, hey, like I'm trying to be part of it, even though, and if you find that me bowing to you is offensive, you know, that's cool, but like teach me about it, right?
Yeah.
That should
Educate me.
I feel like that should be the approach to cultural days versus I've also seen where people get very offended when like someone maybe says something wrong online, you know,
Mm,
and it's like by context, if it's not coming from a place of hate, I think we should make it a goal to teach.
mm. Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, with us, the way we were raised, I feel like they kind of teach us, they kind of taught us about like holidays and their significance in middle school, like middle school into high school. Like we learned, hey, okay, guys, remember you guys have off this week, but this is the reason you have off. This is the holiday that's happening, and or it may be, hey, you guys don't have off this week, but certain cultures have off this week, and this is because it's this. And you had teachers to explain that to you. I feel like nowadays everybody is brain dead, or they don't take the initiative to learn more about it. Like it's like President's Day. President's Day is something for the American culture where we recognize presidents past and present. And if you like, let's say you do something wild where it's like, for JFK, you show a picture of him getting shot and it's like Happy President's Day. You're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's kind of wild. I mean, granted, it's another off day, but it's just a way to, if you look Americans to celebrate past and present, past and present presidents. Um, Another like we were just talking about Black History Month. Black History Month. That's a whole month dedicated to. I mean, there's a bunch of different months. Hispanic month. Asian culture month. There's different months, but Black History Month was started as a week. It used to be a week. So uh, earlier on, kids would not forget about their history and what's going on in Black American culture. But then it turned into, essentially a federal recognized thing where it's like, hey, this is Black History Month. We're turning this whole month into Black History Month. People got offended. People always get offended. Why is there not a White History Month? Why is there not an Asian History Month? And if you do your research, there are something similar to those.
Well, let's talk about that, Kev.
Yep, let's talk about it.
Thanksgiving. What is that? Is that not the most white holiday that we
Oh
have?
man, that's Thanksgiving to me. I consider that food day because when you it's I'm sorry, I feel like it's just like Columbus Day when people still go around yelling, "Hey, happy Columbus Day." No, it's Indigenous People Day. Columbus terrorized a whole bunch of fucking people
Yeah.
to get here.
You think
Same
about
thing for Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving celebrated, we're celebrating the pilgrims, but they are weren't they the early slave owners?
Yes, and they massacred a shit ton of people.
Yeah. And so, if you really, really think about it, it's a little ironic that all of us celebrate Thanksgiving with our family when, there's a dark side of history behind
Yeah, there's
it.
dark side. There's a dark side of history to a lot of the stuff that we celebrate, and again, that's why there's some of these what we're naming are like federally recognized holidays in the U.S. where we have off, we hang out, and it's like, we do what we got to do. Just like July 4th. To me, July 4th, that's American Independence Day, but that's not an Independence Day for everyone in America.
Not at all. You could argue it's a little offensive to certain people.
Yep, I agree. And when you tell people, I learned about Juneteenth when I was back in high school, and I was like, oh wow, Juneteenth, that's That's crazy. I didn't know this type of thing happened. And for those that don't know what Juneteenth is, it's crazy that they kind of made it a a federal holiday, and that's it's of course due to the fact that when we were in COVID, there was a lot of protests happening because I feel like COVID brought light to light a lot of things that we didn't notice if we weren't just sitting at home behind our computers.
But there was like there was a lot of chaos, but there was also a very like beautiful side to that, man. Like people, you see a group of people that is standing up and fighting in a modern day like activist fight, right? Like it's like hey, like I'm fighting for my rights, I'm fighting for my beliefs, for my
Yep.
people, right? But then you see the other side of it where some other people are like, hey, this is a green light to go join the riot and then go like steal stuff, like it's
Yeah.
just there was two different sides of it that um you feel like a lot of these messages gets lost in translation because not everyone's motive is for that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I think that when it comes to historical related things like Juneteenth and understanding like these different holidays, do your research. Open up a book. Like you can literally Google any one of these holidays and learn more about them. Then you realize some of them have months. So there's, just because there's a Black History Month doesn't mean that there's not like, Hispanic History Month or, Asian History Month. There's something else. A lot of things are celebrated more than others, but doesn't mean it's not there.
More and more recently, right? Like because I as an Asian, I AAPI month is new to me, man. I was like, what? Wait, we have a month, and it's kind of a discussion that a lot of the Asian community has as well. What does that mean? Because
Mm-hmm.
it feels more like a Asian American month.
Mm.
It's a month where you're grouping all of us
All of
together,
us think, yeah,
right? It's like, well, some of us are not anything alike,
yeah,
like for example, there's Indians, right? And then there's like Chinese,
yeah.
right? Culturally, the only similarity is probably that there's Buddhism in our history, but other than that, like we're very very different. Yet we're grouped together, and some people don't even include Indians
And
as
that,
AAPI, whereas some Indians might feel like, hey, like we are Asian, or we might not consider ourselves Asian, and it's just it's such a grouped and general month to have and to and for even us to learn about, like, okay, how do we define what AAPI
Asian,
month
yeah,
is?
yeah. It's like what is it? Asian Pacific American Heritage Month.
It
Asian
was,
Pacific.
yeah, it was
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah. So it does get confusing because it's like, damn, are we really in this area or not?
Yeah, yeah, and like I believe Pacific Islander was added towards the end.
Probably, yeah, more than likely. And even I'm pretty sure they don't even want to be in that space.
Yeah, maybe not. Like it's a sign of where society is going, right? Like as a Asian in America, you grow up being used to like being the last person in line, like kind of being the afterthought, and then now you're seeing a lot of things happening in Hollywood for Asians.
Mm.
So that all of this is pretty new to us, man. And my thing is like, well, you could come and you could hate on it, or you could come and you could learn about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather be on the side where, like, okay, let's take this chance to educate people on why this is a thing, and like I think with every culture, um Juneteenth was something I had to learn about. I had to ask questions, and luckily I had friends to explain it,
Yeah.
but it was also something that just, if to me, it felt like it came out of nowhere, and I was like, oh damn, okay, well, what is this about? Why are we celebrating it?
Mm.
And as you learn more, then you come to appreciate, okay, the history behind it, and that's a way to feel closer to, all of our other brothers and sisters of other colors,
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like you said, it's all about like the other people have to have the willingness to be open and learn. Like, let me ask the question, like, hey, what is this about? Please, please. And I've seen people ask when Juneteenth was announced, like, hey, can somebody like elaborate? What is it? I've never heard of it. It's the first time, and it's like one of those things where I had a discussion with one of my white coworkers. He's like you guys have a month now. You guys are getting a whole day. Like, relax, take a step back, because you sound wild right now. I'm gonna let you know that. But being that you're uneducated, I will enlighten you. And I explained it to him, and he apologized afterwards. He's like, oh, "Okay, I didn't understand." Da 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 da. And it's like, okay, cool. Don't come out and just guns blazing and start disrespecting and stuff like that. Because then I had another person who was like, "Oh, you guys have your Black Entertainment Channel." I was like, "Come on, oh come on, like you guys can't be doing this right now. like you sound nuts." And it's like that just let me know like how uneducated people are and what our education system is doing. It's like they're not teaching them like basic history related stuff.
Absolutely, because without the context behind it, a lot of people don't welcome the change.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are afraid of change, even if there is context.
Yep.
But the truth is, America right now, we're a pot of Skittles, man. Like we every color,
Really,
there's every
people don't
color,
realize that.
man.
Like, bro, we got a million different people here, and you scream at people, go back to your country. Born and raised here, my guy. Born and raised here. What's up?
I'll give you an example, bro. I went out to DC last year, right?
Mm.
Got in a cab, and it was this Jamaican dude, man. Like, nice dude. Very talkative. And then halfway through the conversation, he was like, "Hey, my man, like, where are you from, man?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm from California." He's like, "No. Where are you really from?"
That's funny.
Like, and I said, "Well, I'm honestly from Los Angeles, you know." And he's like, "No. Like, where are you really from?" And I was like, "All right, I get where he's coming at, right?" So
Yeah.
I was like, "Hey, I'm my family's from Taiwan." He's like, "Oh man, cool." So then he proceeds to, he's my Uber, by the way, right? He
Yeah.
takes me on a ride. He makes a random left turn, and he's driving me through Chinatown of DC. He's like, "This is our Chinatown, man. Check it out." And you hear that.
Yeah.
I bet you a good amount of Asian people first response is, "Hey, this is racist. Like, this is, I'm offended for you, Tom." But then to me it's like, this guy wasn't trying to insult me. He was trying to like show me like, "Hey, welcome to DC. Like, maybe this is where you could find things that are more related to you." Right?
Yeah.
It that situation could sound very wild or very welcoming depending on how you choose to look at it. And I
I
think
agree.
that's kind of where people really need to work on, is like, how you're responding to other people's thoughts and actions towards your culture.
Yep.
Because we're so programmed to be sensitive to things, especially with race. We're so programmed to be sensitive to it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I like to tell that story a lot to people because it's interesting to see what kind of reactions you draw from something like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think before you speak or do anything in regards to someone else's background, I feel like you should educate yourself just to get a better understanding, or ask the question, hey, can you just enlighten me on XYZ?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
again, there's a lot of uneducated people who just think they know things. And it's like, bro, please. There's a million reasons why what you're saying is wrong, and you can get fired for it. Like they were, recently talking about this woman online, I don't know if you've seen it. She was, dropping the N bomb.
I saw it. It was she was like fired from her job or
Yeah,
something
she was
after.
fired from her job, so she considered herself a tradition. What was her? I forgot what it was the title, but it was like traditional American housewife. A traditional American housewife. Yeah, something like that, where she believed in American values. And if you watch the video, she's sitting there dropping the N bomb like it's like nothing. Not and it's like, Miss, you work at an you work at somewhere where it's African American owned, and you think that's okay? And these be the type of people that will say it behind closed doors, but when they won't say it in front of you. Because I'm pretty sure she didn't say it in the office. So it's like you even the N word people don't understand. Like I personally don't use it. Because there's a lot of history behind it. Hey, you could say with the er, you could say with the a. No, no, no. Either way, to me, I don't like the word, no matter how you pronounce it, because again, there's history behind it. And
As a person that you know from Asian descent, right?
yep,
I've had a a couple experiences where like I have black friends, and when we were a lot younger, um, like I remember there was one day where they were like, "Hey man, like you could just say it, bro. Like it's all good. You're one of like they're just being cool." And then like I didn't know any better, so I was like, "All right, cool," and then so I went with it, right?
yeah,
And then later on, you're like, "Oh damn, like I should not have said all that,"
yeah,
And I think it comes to like you know what is a person's understanding behind that, because
hmm
I feel like there's people that um completely are unaware of the history behind it,
yeah,
right? But then there's also people that are aware and choose to use it,
hmm
and so like when you're in a situation where you're putting yourself online and you're showing ignorance, please don't double down on it.
Oh, yo,
Like if people
really
are
don't.
online
Please don't
saying
double
like,
down.
hey, like don't, you can't say that word, like that's fucked up, you shouldn't say it, like listen to him, learn the lesson, like
Word.
because it's I'm gonna say from experience, like there was a time when I just didn't understand that how bad it was to use it, right? Like I
Mm-hmm.
it felt like I had permission, but in reality it's no, like that's not how it works.
Yeah. And that's like coming back to like the cultural months and things like that. I think that when people hear about it, some people do the smart things and be like, I've never heard of that. Let me go research what this is about. Whereas other people are just like, why do they have that month and I don't have anything? So it's like I think having these type of months and days, cultural things, still kind of pushes people to, hey, let me go Google search that. Let me go understand what this day is about or this month is about. And I think it does matter to a point because school's not teaching anything like this anymore.
That's wild to me. That's It's like
Like,
you almost can't rely on school, and you almost have to learn from people online, which is also very dangerous.
which is super dangerous. You'll have people on TikTok and Instagram teaching you stuff that isn't true. And that's why I tell everybody, if you learning something online, go fact check it yourself. We all have access to the same things. Go fact check it, please.
It's a very interesting topic, man. I think my ultimate uh my ultimate opinion about these holidays is just be accepting, be willing to learn,
Yep.
and don't don't judge based off of people's lack of knowledge, right? But then it's also something to, like, don't also let this be opportunity to be hateful to other people too.
Of course. And I think that if you have somebody in a space that if you have somebody in a space that you feel safe in, just spewing like garbage, this is an opportunity for you to kind of educate them and teach them. Like, yo, here, this is for you. I wanted to provide you this just so you can learn more about the culture and not use it in a way or not, not disrespect it in a way that you're just respecting it. Because as me as a person of color, this is my culture, and I'm gonna need you to respect it the same way I respect your culture.
And please don't take something like Kwanzaa and turn it into something random. Like,
oh God,
appreciate it.
Yeah, so Kwanzaa is another thing. It's like Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, the Jewish holidays. There's so many Jewish holidays. I don't know all of them. I've had Jewish friends when I was young, in my younger years, and even in school. That's why I said I feel like school doesn't teach these kids anything, because even in my younger years, we learned about the different Jewish holidays and what they represent and which ones are more important than the others. And it's like, God, these guys got a lot of holidays, but it's understandable because they've been through a lot, of course. And then we have, as African Americans, we have Kwanzaa. We have other stuff too, but Kwanzaa is a significant one for us if you do the history check on it. And it's like, don't turn those into like bullshit ass games or something that just doesn't respect or promote the culture as a whole.
Exactly. Like I don't feel like non-Chinese people should come out and have a party for Chinese New Year's, right? Like it's just there's things like that that's just it's weird, right? It's like you
happy Chinese New Year week. We're gonna have a party. We're gonna get drunk every day. What's up? Turn up.
Like I feel like it's okay to celebrate it, right?
Yeah.
But like to hold events and without any respect to the history behind it, and to just say, hey, this is a Chinese New Year's bash, wear your favorite K-pop outfit or something. Like it's like, bro, like what are you doing?
That sounds nuts.
Yeah.
Like what are you doing? And I would understand if it was like, Chinese New Year type of gathering, and it was informative. It was very informative, where it provides you the history, the education behind it, how it came to be, and things of that nature.
Yeah. And like, there's so much meaning behind like all the food behind our culture, from every culture. Like the food is such a big part of our history. And it sucks when like you see someone just like on the streets like popping fortune cookies and saying like, hey, like I'm doing Chinese New Year. It's like, nah, like that's not even Chinese, bro. Like that's not a real Chinese thing. It's just there's things like that I just hope the people who want to do that just want to celebrate it, but also has a willingness to learn about it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, even for I'm Haitian American, so like for us, even on January 1st, we have for as far as food wise, we have soup jumeau, which it commemorates essentially Haiti's liberation from the French colonies in 1804. So that's something that we bring in the New Year's with soup jumeau. And it's like, I'll have my American friends, they know about it. They're like, yo, let me get that soup jumeau. I know you guys make it once a year. It's not that we necessarily make it once a year. It's just, it's just one of those things that, hey, this is how we celebrate us as a culture. And it's like just getting a better understanding of what, each culture does for the year, month, day, whatever, food wise. It's just like, wow, that's amazing. Like, let me learn more about it. It always makes me want to learn more about, hey, okay, what are your things that you guys do versus, where other people just take it as a joke, or they make fun of it, or they disrespect it in some type of way.
and there's a fine line between that. I think us as people, um, we should feel like there's a necessity to learn, right?
Yep.
But also, I also think that like jokes sometimes jokes could be based around stereotypes, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that's okay too. You don't have to be. I think not everything needs to be very offensive.
Yep.
um like I think some Asian jokes are fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not I like there's a fine line between something funny
Yeah.
and you're attacking with malice.
Yeah.
There's like a hate behind it. And I think people need to, well, I hope not need to, but I hope people try and figure out where that line is,
Mm-hmm.
instead of everything's a joke, everything could be a joke, or everything is offensive.
Yep. No, I get you. I get you on that. And as we come to the end of this episode, what do you want to leave people with in regards to our topic?
um have an open mind, focus on learning about culture instead of just taking the day off, and then have fun with it too.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you for joining me for this episode. Don't forget, guys, just takes a simple Google search to learn more about somebody else's culture. You can always ask. I'm pretty sure you have a friend that celebrates some type of culture, so definitely check with them. But that's it for this episode. You guys can find me on all social media platforms at Random Guy Kev and my website, randomguykev.com. Don't forget to check in, and I will catch you guys on the next one.